Corrupt local councils. Let's have a look. Good evening, everyone. Florian Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. I've got my evening stein of coffee, and I thought we would have a look at this article sent to me by a viewer from the ABC, and it's dealing with corrupt local councils, or specifically, what happened in Ipswich. So how ratepayers for Ipswich City Council, one of the country's fastest growing cities, lost $78 million. Now, Queensland, we've had a bit of a run with dodgy councils recently. There's all the problems down in Logan and now here in Ipswich, and they're little fiefdoms, aren't they? They're funny little things. You know, some people make the argument that we don't need councils. You know, do they need to be elected positions? Could it be run by, all corporations? Yeah, maybe. Have your debate in the comments, guys. Let's have a look. A senior staffer at one of the nation's most infamous city councils has described a culture of fear within the organisation where staff would either adapt to survive or leave. That's a funny thing, isn't it? You don't realise when you're working in one of these environments where it can just be so unnatural, or it's so abusive, or it's just, the politics of the office is just drenching you until sometimes you get out of that environment. You realize, well, that's not really acceptable. That's not really normal. What's going on? And actually, the only time I encountered that was in a government organisation. Ipswich City Council, west of Brisbane, was sacked in 2018 and replaced with an administrator following an investigation by the Crime and Corruption Commission. David, not his real name, spoke to the ABC following the release of a final report by the interim administrator detailing the city's problems, including lost millions through a CBD development, a toxic culture of bullying and corruption, and lack of direction, and what has been done to fix the issues. I can't say I'm surprised. I mean, they're saying it's the fastest growing city. But is there any work out there? We worked on a project out at Ipswich in the train station there, right in the centre of the city. And I remember we rocked up there for the first site visit, and there were people fighting in the streets, throwing drunken bottles, the police turning up in the middle of the day. So that's the freshest memories in my mind I have of Ipswich. So it was known, if you don't toe the line, you'd disappear, David said. There was certainly fear of reprisal if you were crossing the wrong person or group. There was a lot of influence of councillors directly to sometimes quiet junior staff to put pressure on them for certain things. Some of it was down to ego, almost empire building of some councillors and internal staff as well. Yeah, I can see that. In some cases, the scale of the disagreement meant people left the organisation. You'd be essentially pushed out. Well, I mean, that's what you have to do. If someone wants you to compromise your position, you've got to be able to just go, no, walk away. So it's not sounding like a very pleasant environment here in the council, is it? David said, a staff whistleblower hotline set up after the council's dismissal, which had 118 calls in just 16 months, with accusations of fraud, corruption, theft, sexual assault, and racism, had been crucial. Bloody hell. There you go. There you go. So, do we need councils, guys? What do? They control what we can develop. They're imposing on us there. They run the libraries, the roads, collect the garbage. In other areas, the culture was still quite positive. The problems were in pockets, he said. Giving the staff a voice was really important. I don't think they expected the volume of calls that they had. So staff targeted by abusive community members. David said the real low point came when community members began taking their anger out on staff after the council's sacking. He said people were taking off clothing with council logos and removing lanyards before stepping out of the building to avoid being targeted. There were mowing crews getting abused when they were mowing parks, he said. I had one driver get abused when they were filling up at the petrol station, accused of being corrupt, and it was suggested they should just drive off with the fuel. Well, I mean, could be. These aren't very honest organizations, are they? What we're seeing here. Why? I know there's all, the staff were bullied. Why didn't they speak up earlier? If they went along with this, which some of them would have, some of the staff would have, are they any better than the dodgy councillors? Why don't you let me know in the comments, guys, what you think? Interim Administrator Greg Gemello's report outlined the challenges faced by staff. The previous culture was one of secrecy and fiefdoms. There was a lack of respect for the law and a culture of doing deals which rippled through the organisation, he said. Many staff had been bullied or were guilty of bullying, with some councillors determined to direct the work of officers in operational matters. There was a clear lack of respect for process and people. Well, you need to fire all the staff then. Maybe clean out the whole council, every single person, and start again. That's probably a little drastic, but Ipswich ratepayers lost millions, the administrator said. In the report, Mr. Gemello said Ipswich ratepayers had lost millions through a decade-long redevelopment of the city's CBD. In 2018, the council established Ipswich City Properties Proprietary Limited, buying several CBD sites, redesigning redevelopment schemes, and undertaking overseas trips to review other CBD redevelopments, costing the city $121.6 million. The market values of these properties was about $42.8 million. This meant the city's ratepayers had effectively incurred a loss of about $78 million over the decade. The CBD was hindered by a decade of stop-start, inactivity, and poor decision-making. I mean, look, at last time I went there, to be honest, I usually just drive past Ipswich on the way to Toowoomba. That's former Ipswich Deputy Mayor and Ipswich City Properties Chairman. Oh, funny that. So the Deputy Mayor and the Chairman of the business, anyway. Paul Tully disputed the claims. That reference to a stall project is a joke, Mr. Tully said. The redevelopment of the CBD was always planned to be a 15 to 20-year project in multiple stages. Ipswich City Properties was dissolved in late 2018, with all assets transferred to council. Now here's a question. Why the hell is council starting up a property development business? Why are they doing that? Why are they not creating incentives, if they want, to allow private enterprise to develop? Why the hell are they getting involved? And look what's happened here. They're playing with ratepayers' money. They're playing with money that isn't theirs. Yeah, anyway. Local Government Association of Queensland said it had long rallied against councillors being on the board of private companies. It's hard to imagine how you could lose that amount of money. LGAQ president, well, yeah, you can. It's just called devaluation of the property. That's what it is. And pissing it away over and over again on failed projects and rework. The city centre of Ipswich is an important asset to the community. So where it's as easy as saying, that's the loss, some will agree, some won't. Either way, it demonstrates what not to do. The investment of council in CBD properties, where members of the board were councillors themselves, was clearly the wrong structure. The report will make enlightened reading for future councillors in Ipswich, and indeed other parts of local government. So why your councillors shouldn't be fixing potholes? Another issue highlighted in the report was the role of mayors and councillors. One of the lessons for councillors in the report is, you're not elected to do the work of officers, he said. Mr. Gemello said training for elected officials and educating the public was a key strategy for administrators. Many still cannot understand why a councillor should not take personal responsibility for fixing a pothole, restraining a dog, fining a residence, or that it is inappropriate to direct a council officer to do so, he said. Community members can expect their elected representatives will have a clear understanding of their strategic role. So what's next to Ipswich? Maybe we just absorb it into Brisbane, hey? Former Ipswich Mayor Paul Postage was jailed for extortion in 2019, and his successor, Andrew Antololi, found guilty of fraud the same year. What a good crop of people they have out there in Ipswich. Fraud and corruption awareness training and education will commence shortly and will be key, Mr. Camello said. The incoming councillors and mayor can be expected to demonstrate zero tolerance for fraud and corruption. The administrator said council still had 1,300 items, including signed sports memorabilia, artwork, barbecue, toys, clothing, and merchandise bought by mayors and councillors with ratepayers' money. It will be up to the new councillor to decide what is done with them. David said there has been a sense of hope within the staff ahead of Queensland local government elections in March. There's a bit of fear of the unknown, he said. Overall, there's been an improvement over the past 16 months. Hasn't been easy, it's been exhausting, but you can see it's going in the right direction. Well, guys, I mean, bloody hell. This sounds like a complete and utter debacle and a bunch of pigs at the trough. What do you all think? What would your alternative be to councils? Do we need them? Do we need them? Let me know your opinions in the comments below, guys. What other methods could you use for a community to manage how it wants its city to grow? Anyway, thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to help us produce more, we have a Patreon where you can make a small monthly donation. We also have the ability for you to join the channel here on YouTube, where you can gain access to emojis and badges. We have affiliate links with Independent Reserve for crypto, Amazon, and eBay for your consumer purchases, and they're a great way for you to support your favorite content creators without incurring any costs. We have our own merch on the HeiseSays website, pocket squares handmade by Rachel. And finally, we have PayPal if you want to make a direct donation. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day, and I will talk to you all later. Bye for now.